Okay, now we're picking up at example 2 from page 420 in the book, which is multiplying square roots. All right, now if you remember from the last video, we broke up the radicals and chunked them into products of each other so that we could simplify it. Well, we're going to kind of reverse engineer and do the sort of same thing, but we're going to go backwards. So let's look at this example. So we have this. It says simplify square root of 2 times the square root of 14. Now, if you remember about what we did, we had started with everything under one radical sign, and then we broke it up into a product. Well, this is after they break up the product, and I've written them under separate radical signs. So we're just going to go backwards and go where we went. And then all you got to do with these is when you have two radicals that are next to each other, the product rule says that we can multiply them and then put them under one radical sign. All right, so we're going to go 2 times 14. That's going to give us 28. And then at that point, once you have that, you can simplify it. Okay, so I know if I have the square root of 28, now I can take that and I can break that up into anything with a square number in it. So I can turn this into 4 times 7. All right. I know that the square root of 4 is 2, and then square root of 7 is just going to stay a square root of 7. All right. Let me hold this up so you can see it. All right. So square root of 4 turns into 2. And then once you take it out, it stays outside the radical, and you just kind of glue it next to the radical sign, and then you have the square root of 7. All right, so why don't we try 1? All right, so what you're going to have to do is multiply them together and then simplify them. All right, so here is your problem. Try this on your own. So write this down, pause the video, and then let's try it together. Okay, so you've got square root of 5 times the square root of 10. Well, that little product rule we have, okay, says that we can go 5 times 10 and put it under one radical sign. So we're going to do that first. 5 times 10 is 50. So I'm going to write this as the square root of 50. And if I know I have the square root of 50, I know I can write that as a product of two numbers where one of them is a square, and that is 25. I can write this as 25 times 2. So I'm going to write it that way, 25 times 2. Okay, so it's almost like we're going backwards and then we're going forwards again. You got 25 times 2, the square root of 25 is 5. Times the square root of 2, and that is your final answer. All right, so for your last checkpoint, we're going to do the square root of 6 times the square root of 8. All right? Now, looking at this, you can multiply this all together, but you can also see, you could simplify it beforehand if you wanted to too. I apologize about the glare. But let's stick with what we've been doing. Let's multiply it all together so that we don't have to do like certain things twice. So square root of 6 times the square root of 8. So 6 times 8, multiply these two together, and you get the square root of 48. Right, now I'm going to take the square root of 48, and I'm going to write that as a product of some numbers where I get some square numbers out of that. And the largest square number I can pull out of 48 is 16. Okay, so that would be the square root of 16 times the square root of 3. All right, so if that's the case, I know the square root of 16 is 4. So then you wind up with 4 times the square root of 3. And that's really all there is to it. It's just multiply them together. And then once you have them multiplied together, kind of break them apart again, but into different kinds of products where the products are square numbers. So that's your strategy. Multiply them and then break them back up into numbers that work better for simplifying under the radical. All right, thanks for watching.